Hey, Paul.
How you guys?
What's happening?
All good, man.
Another long weekend ahead.
I dig these long weekends. This last couple of weeks with all these public holidays and it sort of breaks up. I know it's disruptive for business, but it's pretty kiff. Joburg is on another level of, it's been like December.
Yeah.
Traffic is calm. It's chilled. I kind of been enjoying this vibe.
Just from a traffic perspective, it's nice.
It's been chilled.
Yeah. It is nice.
Mm.
As you said, probably not the world's best thing for the economy, but nonetheless, it's cool.
Yeah.
I had a busy one. I took up, I followed your path. I drove all the way to Hoedspruit the other day, then all the way back, and I'm going all the way back tomorrow again. The family's there on a break while yours truly's been at work.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Kind of sucks. But anyway.
The drive kind of makes up for it. So it's a very scenic drive.
It is.
That low fault part of
you have to pretend you're on a GS or a nice multi-strata.
Yeah.
For you at Harley. But I was quite impressed with some of the roads. I mean, that Leidenberg road, just haven't been there for years because apparently, potholes and a nightmare. It was actually, there was nothing wrong with it. It was fine. And bar a little stretch there by Dahlstrom that's really bad with potholes. But I mean, how bad has Atlas Road been in Johannesburg?
Oh, but
it's a flipping nightmare.
You must see some of the roads there in Pretoria. It's just they can't get those potholes fixed fast enough, man. It's ridiculous.
No, it's been bad. So anyway, the drive, as you say, it's pretty pleasant. Dahlstrom seems to have picked up a notch because let me tell you, yesterday driving through Dahlstrom, it was busy. All the restaurants were busy. Like a little brewery there was busy. It's like a wine tasting place, packed. So it was quite cool to see a small little town like that pumping because it really was.
It's a popular destination at the moment because it's it's reasonably close to Joburg. Easy drive there.
It is close, yeah.
And there's some spectacular places to stay out there, man. Yeah.
I stayed at a couple of spots there. I haven't quite found the sweet spot for the right place. That Walkerson's place looks pretty insane as you go out.
I've been there.
That looks nice.
Amazing.
Well, even from the road, it looks nice.
Yeah.
But
if it's of any interest, there's a runway there as well.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. You just need something to land on it.
Yeah. I'll be landing nothing other than a kite on that runway.
I like it. You did say yesterday when you were driving back from Hoedspruit, you still thought about that convo we had with Jono where you said, shit, he would have just taken his own aeroplane.
Yeah.
Lekker.
Speaking of own aeroplanes, JOHAN LOTTERING sent me something this morning. It's a 1989 Beech A36 Bonanza, 5.25 bar, 5.25 million. It's legit. It's such a nice aircraft. Been looking.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool, eh?
That's cool.
That's an ideal, little family run around thing.
I'd kill for that anyway. If you're interested in the 5.25 million Bonanza, contact JOHAN. I'll leave the details in the show notes. It's legit. It's got proper T-handle quadrant. It's a dual controls, club seating, and it's an 89 model, so
yes,
it's brand new. My old man had a V35.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was just the most lovely airplane to fly. I got maybe 500 or so hours on that thing. It was really, really nice aircraft. Yeah, it's a stunning plane. The V-tail is just, it's like a 911, man. It's like iconic. And it goes like hell. I mean, it's not far off Baron speed. But obviously...
I've never flown one. I've flown in the air behind one, or let's say it overtook me. I had to do a flight once where I worked for Foster Aero when I was still doing my hour building for Com.
Yeah.
It's like going back a good couple of years. And we had to ferry a VTOL down to Pongola. So I took the 172 that we had and had to fly down there to pick up the pilot or whatever. But he came screaming past me in the cruise and he was shunting. But I just remember seeing that thing fishtail Like, I was like, it didn't look too kiff.
Yeah, it wobble. If you go through a bit of turbulence, the back sort of snakes a bit. They sorted it. The earlier ones were quite bad. The later ones, I think they increased. I think the tail section, the V, slightly bigger, and they sorted a lot of that out. But it's a beautiful plane to fly, and you can't notice really when you're flying. If you're sitting in the back as a passenger, you will, but it's minimal. But man, I'll tell you what, if
If you had 5.25 bar, you would.
If we had 3,000 Patreon subscribers, I would.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we've set ourselves a bit of a goal this year. So by the end of the year, the mission is to have 100,000 subscribers. Not so.
Yeah, I think 100,000 YouTube subscribers.
Yeah,
I want to up that Patreon. Donation thing that helps a huge amount. But as you can see, Ryan and I are pushing on the show like hell.
Yeah.
But we better get into it then, because we
talking too much cuck.
Talking cuck, yeah. So this week we're covering significant operational disruptions, ongoing safety investigations, changes in airline routes and strategies advancements, and how aviation is assisting in some regional emergencies here in Cape Town. Fires going on there as we speak. And we'll conclude with Bryan Air advisory this week. But probably the main aviation news of the week, a major power outage caused significant chaos in Spain and Portugal. Flights were grounded at key hubs, including Madrid, Lisbon, and Barcelona. Passengers were advised not to travel to the airports until further notice. The cause of the outage remains unknown, and efforts to restore power are ongoing. Governments held emergency meetings to address the situation. So they're not as slick as we are when it comes to load shedding and having dual generator systems and all that stuff that can kick in when shit hits the fan.
It's panic stations there, bro, because the traffic lights are out, so now the Oaks can't drive. They've got no clue of what to do. So, traffic is at a standstill.
Yeah.
They're stuffed.
They're stuffed. And there was another post on was a separate thing. It wasn't related to a power outage, but it was related to a bit of an IT glitch that happened. I think it must have been in Dubai. It was one of the Middle Eastern carriers. And basically the computer system had an issue. So the flights were delayed, but because it was the system that sort of looks after the smooth running of the network, passengers that were at the airport already couldn't even go into the lounge because the lounge access was only for existing flights that 3 hours before, whatever the story was. But because of this little glitch, it caused major issues for a lot of the passengers. And it sort of opens up the question about the tech side of things, how it can let you down. And I know, obviously, speaking about Spain and Portugal, a lot of it, power outage, we know it does cause chaos. And if you don't have backup systems, you're in trouble. But even more so, their systems are down. So you can't check in. You can't do anything. Yeah. You literally are just stuck in the mud. Whereas us here in down south, I suppose we figured out a couple of the loopholes.
Yeah, we've got the resilience to get through it, and that's what makes us tougher.
I agree. In Belgium, a general strike on the 29th of April led to all departing flights being cancelled at Brussels. The strike involved security staff and handling service workers protesting government wage cuts. So more chaos there in Europe. The strikes are part of ongoing actions affecting the transport industry there. So, it happens this time of the year. Normally, I suppose we'll be talking about the ATC strikes shortly and baggage handlers and other parts of the world. So it's just standard practice.
It's like you can almost ink this on your calendar. It's a northern hemisphere, springtime going into summer. Yeah. And that's when these oaks start all this again.
Exactly. An Air India A320 mistakenly attempted to take off from a taxiway That was on the 4th of December last year. The crew accelerated to 124 knots before ATC intervened and instructed them to abort the takeoff. Fortunately, there were no other aircraft on the taxiway. The crew returned safely to the parking bay. The investigation and the incident found that the first officer was distracted by a technical issue. Well, why were you taking off then? And the crew rushed their pre-takeoff checks. The report recommended improvements to cockpit procedures and technology to prevent similar incidents. I don't think you need any technology. You just need your finger out your ass.
Don't be playing with that cell phone while you're taxiing it. It's going to destroy your situational awareness. Anyway.
So that could have been bad. Reminds me of a story. I won't say who it was. It was one of these old school pilots that we were speaking about last week. So he was taxiing in Lanseria. This was going back maybe 20 years or so. And they cleared him. There were like 3 aircraft lined up there, and he was hurtful because at the stage where Lanseria used to be quite a chilled little airport, and then it sort of started going to the more corporate-y side. And they had just he stood quite a long way to go into taxi, and the aircraft in front of him had already taken off, and they cleared him for takeoff, this guy. So he said, well, stuff it, he's just going to go from here. And took thrust and went. I don't think these oaks had similar plans. Anyway, in a bit more tragic news, a Royal Thai Police Twin Otter, I don't know if you saw that video, but it sucked.
Yeah, I saw it.
Crashed into the sea in Thailand shortly after takeoff. All 6 police officers on board died at the incident. The aircraft had just completed maintenance and was on a test flight. Witnesses reported that the plane's right engine failed, causing it to nosedive in the water. It looked like something. I mean, it was literally vertical. That video. Not going to comment on it because there'll be an investigation. Then we can have a proper chat about it. But I don't know. I've seen way too many plane crashes on video this year. Just way too many.
Yeah, I wish we should slow down a bit now because it's it's a bit disturbing. It's amazing how almost all of these pranks, there's video footage. It's just like everything's on camera, bro.
Everything's on camera, and there's literally someone filming at some point almost every single plane that's in the air. It's just weird. It's
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. But not nice to see plane crashes at the best of times. Never mind on social media 10 minutes after they've happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because there was that aerobatic pilot, Rob Holland.
Yes.
That also crashed earlier this week, which was...
Yeah, he was quite famous, eh?
Yeah, he was quite ahead in the aerobatic scene in the USA. I don't think they quite know what happened there.
No.
Yeah.
Not good. Geopolitical factors and operational issues continue to influence airline routes and strategies. Following 18 months of uncertainty, Virgin Atlantic has permanently cancelled its London to Tel Aviv flights. Affected travelers will be notified by email. Virgin Atlantic will remain its partnership with LL, offering connections to Tel Aviv. The decision contrasts with other UK airlines such as BA and EasyJet, which plan to resume their Israel flights. Similarly, Turkish and Pegasus Airlines have decided not to resume Tel Aviv flights as well. So probably expect to see more of that from other airlines as they follow suit. So, chaos in the region, and that's what happens. In other operational news, Finnair plans to furlough 36 pilots for 8 months from September this year to May 2026. The decision is linked to a dispute with the pilot union and comes as Qantas reduces its use of the Finnair Airbus A330 aircraft. They had 2 of them. There'll be only 1 of them in operation. The wet lease deal, which initially started well, encountered issues from pilot unrest, leading to flight delays. Qantas will maintain some services, but is scaling back its reliance on Finnair. So
I had no idea that Qantas was leasing areas from
you should, Finns. Because we spoke about it on the podcast a while ago, and I think you actually spoke about the story.
Did I?
No, I don't know. I remember I remember something about it, and I wasn't it is it a dispute on the Qantas side or the Finnair side? Because the Qantas guys wouldn't want another air, a bit like we have here at SAA at the moment. I mean, it doesn't do wonders for the growth. I mean, they should be employing more, and that means your seniority goes up, and so it's not what the Qantas guys want. It's probably not what the Finnair guys want. They want to be at home drinking beer and acting like a Viking.
We don't want to fly in Australia. It's too hot and they've got big snakes. I think the Turkish feel the same about flying in SA, because the joke is you spot one of those Turkish 737-800s at the moment. I've got a couple of mates that are flying around, and they reckon when those guys see a thunderstorm, they they deviate by a significant amount of miles.
Is it? I can imagine. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, they're probably looking forward to going back home.
Yeah.
What is the deal with that?
I think
are they staying for a while?
I think they're going back now. It was to see SAA through this whole busy holiday period.
Of course it was.
Yeah, of course. And I think they're going back now. And look, apparently SAA is getting a whole whack more 320s.
Who's going to fly them?
I don't know.
Yeah. Talking about strategy at airlines. This one's quite clever. Delta Airlines plans to avoid the 10% tariff on European-made Airbus aircraft by rerouting their delivery flights. Instead of flying directly from France to the States, new planes will first fly to a third country like Japan. This way, they won't be classified as new upon arrival in the US, allowing Delta to sidestep the tariffs. Delta's CEO confirmed the airline will not pay these import levies and will use this strategy for future aircraft deliveries. The airline will ensure that all new planes operate their first revenue flights outside of the US to comply with regulations.
Tariffs are, it's so funny watching how people are trying to circumnavigate that whole story. Did you see Amazon are quite clever. They've started putting the tariff charge on all their packages. So someone can see what the tariffs are.
Oh, really?
Apparently, United States government is not too compressed with Amazon for doing that.
Oh, really? Yeah, one wonders what it will come to. I'm not so sure the strategy from Delta to go and announce it to the whole world that that's what you're doing is also the best, because if you were going to block that, I'm sure you could write up an executive order or something. But anyway, it is sort of causing chaos and probably more so in the airline industry than anywhere else. The price of these aircraft are so massive that if you add a minimal % tariff on, that's not insignificant. So yeah,
crazy.
Sustainability, Paul, your big topic that you're so knowledgeable about. Sustainability efforts are seeing airlines adapt innovative solutions. ANA will be using the AeroShark riblet technology on its 777-300ER passenger planes. Do you know what that is? You're going to search for it quickly. The special film mimics shark skin to improve airflow, aiming to save fuel and reduce carbon emissions. ANA has already observed a 1% reduction in fuel consumption since implementing it on a cargo freighter. The airline intends to apply this tech to more aircraft to support its environmental goals.
Okay.
It makes sense. I mean, the swimmers and that they use that shark technology, you would think if it works in the water, why not in the air?
Why not in the
air? Yeah.
There's a lot of
it sounds cool.
There's a lot of I want to say similarities that they're stealing from sharks. Because isn't it that one winglet called the shark fin winglet, that new one on the 737 Maxes?
Isn't that split scimitar?
Split scimitar, yeah. It was just
shark
fin.
It
was called the shark fin.
I'm not sure. It sounds cool. You add shark in anything.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty legit.
Next thing you know, they're going to be like turning the tires into the shape of sharks' teeth to improve the grip on the runway or something like that.
Talking about sharks, there's been 1 or 2 shark attacks lately as well in Australia.
Australia. Well, I'm not surprised because everything's big in Australia.
Let's talk about some AI. Lufthansa Group is utilizing AI software called the Tray Tracker to combat food waste from in-flight meals. Speaking of that, I'm actually going to get someone on that I know really well that knows how airline food, the whole industry, how it works. It's actually going to be quite interesting.
That's going to be a hell of an interesting topic because
it's a massive subject. Massive.
The amount of wastage that they must deal with.
It's insane. You know, if you're on an Air France flight and you know they've got cheeses and that for first class, business class, wines, they are not allowed to do anything with that food when on the other side. That food gets tossed away, destroyed. So the amount of wastage on food is crazy, and how they predict it and the whole organization around it is extremely complex. So yeah, I'm getting probably the one of the leading experts in the world on how it works.
That's going to be fascinating.
So yeah, it'll be cool. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have that set up. But yeah, quite an interesting, very interesting to hear. Anyway, this tech that they're speaking about is aimed at reducing that, working out. Because it's also a case, if you're on the way, if you think about it, just think about it from an alcohol point of view. Do you think the flights to Vegas have a higher consumption of alcohol than
Yeah, I would say they probably have a higher consumption of alcohol going to Vegas, probably less coming out of Vegas because then you finished.
That is exactly it. So, it takes into account a lot of these things. So it's not just a case of there's X amount of passengers, we need X amount of this or that.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, not only from an airline point of view, but I know from like the charter side as well. The charter industry, sometimes they have to supply some pretty elaborate catering because someone who's paying for their own airplane expects, top tier stuff, and there's often a massive amount of waste that you see off of charter flights. And you can't even just like take that and go and give it to someone unfortunate, because if they get sick, then you get fingered, and
no, you can't. It's like it's a problem all around. But wasted food does seem somewhat ridiculous when there are millions of starving kids. Which is not cool. All right, new aircraft types are also advancing. Joby Aviation successfully completed its first piloted transition flights of an electric vehicle takeoff and landing. That was on the 22nd of this month. Chief Test Pilot James Buddy Denham was at the controls, transitioning between vertical and cruise flight. The company has since conducted several more successful flights. Joby plans to deliver its aircraft to Dubai in mid-2025 for further testing before commencing passenger flights. The eVTOL is designed to carry 4 passengers and a pilot at speeds of up to 200 miles an hour.
That's shunting, eh?
It is, eh? It is. Staying with some high-level tech, beyond aircraft, fundamental infrastructure is also in focus. The integration of satellites into global infrastructure continues. The first batch of Amazon's Project Kuiper satellites successfully launched into space on the 28th of this month using the Atlas V rocket, which carried its heaviest payload ever. The 27 satellites will help provide high-speed internet globally. Amazon plans to deploy over 3,200 satellites in total for the project. More launches are scheduled in the coming years to expand. So you've got to have SpaceX, Amazon. There's a Chinese version.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that animation that was going around on the interwebs a couple of days ago, but someone had drawn up the amount of satellites that are currently in orbit versus what was there like 30 years ago, and it's insane because it's like literally like this web that's surrounding the planet. And they asked the question there: how are these rockets and that penetrating this web of satellites? It's getting a bit congested. How do they control that shit?
Yeah, it is a bit congested, but fortunately it's infinite. But like you say, how do you Yeah, because they're relatively low altitude satellites, these things, eh?
But you can't.
So
can they control the orbital pattern so that, like, okay, we've got a window now, go?
it is way too technical for you and I to be discussing.
I'll make it my mission to do some research.
Yeah. Next story. Republican lawmakers in the US have proposed a $15 billion plan to modernize ATC systems, long overdue. The proposed funding will upgrade equipment, hire more controllers, and improve safety. The initiative has received support from various aviation groups, including manufacturers and unions. So that's good. Hopefully that then filters down to the rest of the world, because it sounds like there's quite a lot of data on this if you want to go read up on it. It's basically like it's a full change. So they've relied on improvements over time, but now it's like a bit of a, let's start with a blank sheet. What do we need? And then, basically re-looking at this whole ATC system. And it's not that the ATC system doesn't work. It's just that it needs to work with worse controllers than we've had in the past.
Yeah.
It works. The system's excellent, but it's too heavily reliant on someone very competent in that hot seat.
Yeah.
So they need a system for idiots.
Again, it just doesn't seem to be an industry at the moment that's attracting the right stuff.
No.
People aren't going for it. I mean,
Pushington too. I told you last week. Major fires in Cape Town, South Africa. Fires began on the 25th of April, burned approximately 3,000 hectares of land. Fire crews working to contain these large fires, helicopters, you name it, they've been up there doing the job. Shout out to everyone helping try and, contain those fires. They're terrible. They happen pretty much on schedule every year, and you need those choppers doing the hard work, putting out those fires. So shout out to everyone, including the people on the ground trying to sort that out.
Yeah, man. I hope they get that contained, because not Ayoba.
No, it's
Cape
not
Town
cool.
burns like it, man.
Not cool. I've got an advisory for you if you're interested.
Let's have it.
So a few years ago, I was part of an online course, and in there they had like a little thing you had to work out your core values. And you see it, and it's like, let's go work. You do a lot of these things, particularly like in the corporate side now. You can find out if you're a red person, a green, and they're all different bloody things. Anyway, I found the core value one quite useful, because you basically can narrow your core value down to 5 or 6 very key ones, and oftentimes, it makes you more aware of your own personality, but also it kind of gives you an indication as to maybe why you make certain decisions or why you give more effort to certain things. So to know your core values is a nice thing to know. So I was playing around with a bit of software called Lovable. It allows you to make your own basically application, web-based application. And I don't want to I know this is an aviation podcast, so I don't want to go, down the rabbit hole with this, but I think, not just me saying it, you can go and have a look at some far more high profile people that say this, but it's a game changer for everyone, because you can literally make a proof of concept app that works within half an hour, just by being able to explain to the AI what you want. So I thought, as a bit of a trial and to give something to the people that listen to the pod, let me make an app that can allow you to calculate your core values. So if you want to go check out that thing that I made, the link is in the notes there. Click on it. It does not require your email. You don't have to subscribe. Not trying to take any of your data at all. It's just a free app. You click on it, find out what your core values are, and it might it might bring to light why you make certain decisions, and you might be able to now follow those core values for the betterment of your own life. But more importantly, I believe that the ability for us to be able to have an idea and be able to use code in natural language to create that idea digitally is something that we're probably not giving enough attention to. I think it's a big thing.
It's quite powerful, definitely very powerful. I had a feeling that you might mention it on the podcast, so I clicked on the core values link that you sent me last night, and I actually did it. And I was quite surprised at how it's kind of hard to go through that list of things and think about what resonates with you, and then in the next list, what doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah,
it's like it forces you to think about. It's quite interesting. It's well worth give it a click and a try and go through it. It's quite something.
Well, I'm glad you found it interesting, because it's it is quite useful. You know, sometimes you make a decision, and then it might not be the right decision, and you can almost kick yourself. Not even like the wrong decision. It's just, why did I do that? If you understand the direction that you tend to think, or by knowing your core values, it enables you to kind of, okay, that's maybe why I went for that option. That's maybe why I'm doing what I'm doing now. We spoke about it with Jono a few weeks back on why you're not at an airline, why you're here doing this. And if you understand your core values, it's easy to say, okay, well, I understand why I made that decision, and at least then I'm acting in alignment with my beliefs and my principles.
I had never done one of those things before, to be honest. So I did it last night for the first time, and when I did it, I saw what the 6 items that it brought back. It was like, shit, this is pretty accurate, because it explained already why I've made decisions in the past, let alone what I might make going forward in the future. But yeah, spot on, man. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you found it useful, and it was quite fun to make. So if you have an idea, it shoots across to Lovable there. It's free. I don't know how long it's going to be free for, but it's free now. And go and build something. And if you can actually perceive it, and you can articulate your thought and articulate your idea in a clear, succinct way, then it will build it for you. And it's just remarkable. So I think it's an absolute game changer. And it will change the way we do things. It will change. It allows you to maybe build short-term businesses as well. You can build a product that's short. You don't have to build a business that you're going to have your children retire at. You can build a business and say, you know what, this is for the next 6 months. I think there's a window here. And you don't have to then go to a developer and get this thing, ground tested and then explain backwards and forwards how it doesn't, how you want it done. You can literally sit down, articulate this thing, pops out the product. It's yours to then go and use.
Build a business that can generate enough money in a short space of time that could perhaps buy you a Bonnie.
That is the exact plan that I have. I have that on my vision board at home. I cut out a picture of a Bonnie now and I stuck it there.
Okay.
Jono also mentioned that he's quite keen on a Bonanza. So maybe we can split in half, 2.5 bar each or so.
Yeah.
Can leave it at Jono's grass strip there.
And he gets cheap gas, eh?
Yeah.
So you're onto something, Will.
I think so. But I hope you enjoyed the show, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. And support Ryan and I on meeting that 100,000 YouTube subscriber goal. That's the plan. That's what we're pushing for. And we're going to make sure that every week our product that we give you guys is so flipping good that you're going to want to subscribe and don't miss out on any of the episodes.
100%.
Thanks for joining us. Until next week.
Take it easy.
Bye for now.